We're at the Rethink Trust conference, and I'm talking to Alexy, the organizer, and I just want to say it's a nice, quiet conference, not too many speakers, good depth. I mean, didn't you have 3 times more speakers wanting to talk?
We had even more, I think. We had 5 times more speakers. We wanted, there was a whole bunch of ICO companies which wanted to speak.
Endless amount of ICOs.
Yes, and they wanted to speak and bring a stand. And we don't sell our speaking slots. So, we have sponsors who support the conference. And if they have speakers, it means they have high technical level of expertise. So at all of my events, all the talks are selected on merit, and they basically have to have strong engineering background and foundation, in addition to be interesting for the conference.
Yeah,
right?
Re-engineering blockchain is the subtitle of it. And you're originally from San Francisco or from Moscow or what?
Yes, I live in San Francisco Bay Area, and yes, I'm a US citizen and lived there for more than half my life. Originally, I'm from Moscow, Russia, but now I reside in the Bay Area, and this is where I hold my main conferences for 6 years, called By the Bay. So my main conference is called Scale by the Bay. I have AI by the Bay, Data by the Bay, Text by the Bay, Democracy by the Bay.
Drive cars, self-driving?
Well, self-driving cars, it's kind of by the Bay, yes. I like domain name, so it's self.driving.cars.
Yeah, so you have also the same kind of interest in all the subjects I'm really interested in. And so every time you're interested in a subject, you organize a conference around it?
Yeah, that's kind of my way to educate myself. Basically, I know that I'm not the smartest person, and there are much smarter people in each area. I am an engineer, so if I get excited about something, I want to invite the best engineers in that field, and the best way to do it is to create a conference, right? Because we have such short attention spans. We don't read anything anymore. It's hard to stay focused reading things, and you can't even watch a video because you'll get distracted.
A real positive future or vision of mankind. Okay, now this is the first time you do a conference, Rethink Trust, in Amsterdam.
That's my first event in Europe. Period. Yeah. Right. So I love Amsterdam. I used to visit as a tourist. I love the canals, but I thought this is a very good venue, the Bourse, and Amsterdam is a capital of fintech since 1600s.
Yeah. So you're really interested in fintech and going from there to blockchain. What does blockchain mean for you? What is the promise for you for blockchain?
So for me, as an engineer, blockchain is a distributed system, and it's very similar to a lot of other things like Twitter. Twitter is a distributed system. It runs on the whole, thousands of Google is a distributed system. So I know how these things are built, and I know people who built them, what kind of skills they needed, right? So now we have this distributed system which everybody wants. Currently, we're in the aspirational phase. People are talking about the opportunities. Almost nothing yet is working. No. When it's working, you will realize and people will see they need the same skills which we have in our engineering community. So I think we're well positioned to be at the front of that revolution. And I think you see a lot of young people here. I think they see kind of a new dawn of a new community, because there is a kind of this decentralized promise, right? Like young people hate authority. I hate authority, like genetically. I don't know. I don't like any bosses, so I can associate with this, right? Yeah. And so we have.
Let me see if you're not skeptical. Then we saw the internet, wonderful, distributed everything.
Yes.
Unbelievable level of centralization.
Yes.
Yeah, very fast. Now we have this decentralized world. We have this blockchain, the mining, incredibly centralization.
Yes.
Do you feel that the promises will hold, or will there also be, through a twisted way, be an incredible decentralization?
So we have Coinbase later on the program, which is going to talk to this, right? Because they feel kind of guilt. Coinbase famously were called by Washington Post the Google of blockchain, which is the opposite of blockchain. Like, you don't want the Google of blockchain. There shouldn't be a Google of blockchain, right? And so they are currently a bridge. So they're saying that what they do is necessary for the current historic period. They're building a bridge, but if you see all these dApps, the next wave is people that truly are asking these questions. The companies here, they're all asking this question. So we don't know yet how this is going to pan out. Yeah. It's hard to believe that they'll know.
But that all the big companies are really interested and really starting to do little projects with blockchain and dabble into it. Do you really think it will be a force of decentralization?
So I think. There will be enterprise blockchains, right? So which will at least satisfy the requirements of multiple players. So I think basically we will have better consortiums, right? For sure. They'll have customers who will be who know that they're not being deceived, right? Because everything is there. So I think we'll have more transparency. We'll have certainly more distribution. We'll have different kind of blockchains. But I think things like EOS, kind of harbingers of the future. Surely there will be hiccups, but people want this, right?
Okay.
People want this. So I think eventually we'll.
No, I put you down for you're still optimistic. Now, also you have interest in self-driving cars, right?
Correct.
You had the first conference in San Francisco about it.
Correct.
How do you think we're doing now on that state?
So I think we are in a little bit of a setback of skepticism, kind of, not AI winter, but a reflection period sets in with the Uber crashes and Tesla Autopilot setbacks and things like that. But it's inevitable, and people.
I love it every day, my Autopilot. I love it. It's really become such a nice way. And I travel all around the world, and Autopilot is basically my private driver.
That's beautiful, and that's more power to you. And so I've been at several conferences recently where Anjay Karpathy, who is the head of AI at Tesla, he's one of the deep learning pioneers.
Yeah.
And so he presented a specific case of self-driving cars. So he actually showed Tesla footage, because Tesla collected millions of miles of Autopilot.
Billions.
Right?
Billions,
right?
Billions.
Nobody else has this. And so his example is very simple. There's a truck in front of the Tesla, and there is a flying ladder which fell off the truck, which headed right straight towards your window, right? Even if you're a human, you can get killed or you can get into a crash, and Autopilot swerves.
Yeah.
And so Tesla, in order for Tesla to avoid the ladder and Autopilot learn it, you need to have the data. Nobody has the data but Tesla currently like this. You need to collect the data. You need to go out there. So Elon Musk, I think he's doing a very hard job. He is staying the course to collect the data, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, some people will get killed in this process.
But
And
less people than
less
with normal cars.
less people that's normal cars, but they will be in the press. They will be suing Tesla,
That's true.
and so forth. It will be tragic. It's tragic, right? But in order to get to this future, we need to get the data, and so I think the future is bright, and it really there is no turning back. But it's hard, right? So we need to collect the data, and we need to teach the machines to avoid crashes, but we need to be smart in software engineering, like Uber people. Like, it was not the machine, it was the human setting a threshold, which led to human fatality, right?
Okay.
And so we need to stay the course, but I think that
Stay the course, and lots of things will happen. Now, you're into everything. It doesn't matter AI, big data, fintech, self-driving car. You're into everything.
Not
Is there a specific passion, or is it just, are you interested in everything, or are you nowadays more a conference director?
No, so I don't do conferences on ballet. I don't do conferences on history, although I like history. So the topics here is engineering, right? So I started with Scala, which is a functional programming language, which is used for Spark and Kafka. And then if you look at the kind of companies I bring, Topple here is using Scala and Cadena using Haskell. And these languages themselves, they signal excellent software engineering. They signal Uber geeks. They signal people, I call them thoughtful software engineers, who basically think about what they do. Is it safe? Is it secure? And this is the kind of people we need in self-driving cars. This is the kind of people we need on blockchain. So kind of
And in fintech.
in
and
fintech,
yeah.
right? And so I basically
Everywhere where there's basically a lot of responsibility in software, we need well-thinking, deep-thinking people.
And we need the right tools, right? So basically, I'm an advocate of these tools, and these tools look like math. So if you look at what Cadena was showing, the smart contracts, then you can formally prove them, which basically becomes computational logic and formal proof, which is a well-established area, right? So the U.S. military was doing this for decades, trying to prove that the missiles are secure and everything like this. It's called formal methods.
Okay.
So it's
And you want to bring that back into the development and
I
make sure
want
that
to-
everybody. Yeah, because it is a weapon. Software development is a weapon, and we need to be responsible about it.
Everything is going to be programmed, and I'm actually terrified by the ascent of people I call script kiddies. These are people, more power to young people. They use JavaScript, but JavaScript is a terrible, terrible language. It should not be used for anything. JavaScript is good in the browser, but you see people using JavaScript for IoT. You see them it used for blockchain, and JavaScript and Python should be held at arm's arm's length from this field. We need to use languages like Scala, Haskell, Rust, right? We need to use languages where we can formally verify, right? And so, I mean, there are ways to verify JavaScript. Like you cannot write raw JavaScript. You use TypeScript, but you need to be thoughtful, right? And
we need to be thoughtful and responsibility. And thank you very much for bringing that to Amsterdam, Alexy.
Thank you, I appreciate it.